What's up, YouTube? What's up, Blizzard? What's up, Diablo 3 fans? My name is Harnor, and today we will talk about HaLoD, the Hammerdin Legacy of Dreams build for the Crusader class. The HaLoD build works as follows. It actually has two methods of damage delivery. The secondary damage comes from the Blessed Hammer, which then also works in conjunction with the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac to massively cut down cooldowns for the alpha damage delivery, which comes from bombardment barrels of spikes. Now, at this particular phase, as you will note, I'm running a Greater Rift 110 in the background. For the HaLoD, this is the equivalent of me taking my actual best build, such as, say, Blessed Shield, a Legacy of Dreams, or my Invoker build, and running Greater Rift 130. So HaLoD is about 20 Greater Rifts weaker than it should be to be a competitive build. Solution, however, is a simple adjustment away. Defensively, the build is wonderfully balanced. We'll talk about the details in a second here. The only thing that interests us is how to make it do more damage. If you look at the Blessed Hammer Brute Force Rune, you'll notice the following. Whenever that hammer explodes, it does damage in multiples of weapon damage. That simply needs to be modified with a number being appropriate, whatever that is, to compensate for those 20 levels worth of loss, so that the Brute Force Rune on the Blessed Hammer does multiple of Thorns damage rather than weapon damage. Other than that, we are going to stick Unity in there, and the stun explosions from the Blessed Hammer onto themselves are going to provide enough of a defensive shield to compensate for lack of an item such as, say, Justice Lantern. All right, so let's have a look at the full set of the skills. We've got that Blessed Hammer with Brute Force. Just as a quick disclaimer, yes, Limitless Rune would do actually more damage as it stands right now, but of course it is part of the proper Hammerdin build, so we don't want to be messing with it. And Brute Force does physical damage, which, to be honest, is better themed for the HaLoD build, as we are doing physical damage in forms of thorns, and we want to gear the whole thing towards that. So, other skills, Acra's Champion Prophet, that's our usual suspect here. Then we've got Bombardment with Barrels of Spikes for what is currently alpha damage, with the potential boost to the Blessed Hammer. If that were to happen, it could be a 50-50 split. Then we've got Laws of Valor, Unstoppable Force. We want to keep the resource spending to a minimum to keep up the defensive bonus from Aquila Kiras, which we are going to be using. Also, Laws of Valor accelerates our attacks with the Blessed Hammer, which in turn affects the cooldowns via Ring of the Zodiac, and helps us end attack faster and keep Acra's Champion up at all times. We'll discuss in a moment why that is so important here. Next is Iron Skin, Reflective Skin. We want Thorns damage and we want defense here. Condemn with a vacuum effect is important. We're going to be using Strong Arm Bracers on our character to give ourselves that 30% extra damage and to keep the monsters clumped nearby for better damage from our bombardment. Then we've got our passives, Fervor. That's simply your cooldowns and your attack speed. Lord Commander for bonus to cooldown of bombardment. Iron Maiden to massively boost our thorns. And last but not least, Finery for bonus and to strength and to our armor. Now, before I go into the equipment details, a very important thing to note. You are going to be using Stone Gauntlets, but you are not going to be using Ice Climbers for this build. So the combination of your cooldowns, attack speed, and therefore the work that the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac does has got to ensure that your Acra's Champion is up 24/7. It must be up at all times. So your cooldowns are your priority. They've got to be at least above 60% in my opinion. Your attack speed has to be at 2.2 attacks per second or higher. Again, just an opinion, but I would use that as a solid guideline. Now, onto the equipment itself. In Kanai Cube, we've got the Mortal Drama to double the bombardment impacts. We've got the strong arm bracers to work in conjunction with our vacuum effect from Condemn, and convention of elements for the elemental damage boost. Again, on the shoulders now, actual equipment. Obviously, the cooldowns are important. A bonus to bombardment is important. Thorns are awesome. Now you've got the stone gauntlets, and mind you, this is not a complete build. So stick to cooldown, stick to attack speed. Then you're going to have thorns, and of course strength as your primaries, and area damage if you can find item with it. So stick to those. Ignore what's on my equipment in this case. Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. I picked here the reduction to resource cost. I want to make sure that my Aquila Kiras provides me that extra damage protection as much as possible. Other than that, we've got obviously cooldown and attack speed and thorns here. On the flail, attack speed, cooldown, healing are the key. Then you've got the illusory boots for their obvious benefit. Hexing pants of Mr. Yun. You are going to be moving during combat at all times with this build. You've got the Belt of the Trove for the additional bombardment. Next is the Aquila Kiras. Again, a very important defensive item for you. And then, rare but true, genuine usage of Andariel's Visage. You've got the bonus to physical damage here and bonus to attack speed. You can't beat that. Flavor of Time is absolutely a phenomenal addition to the game, in my opinion, especially for the no-set builds. And it's extremely useful in this case. Thank you, Blizzard, by the way, for actually inventing this for us and putting in the game. We've got Gabriel's Vambraces next. These are, again, to refund your mana, make sure that Aquila Kiras works, that you don't run out of mana, or wrath, as it were, actually. Unity, important as well. Again, the critical damage is not so important, but cooldown is. And finally, the Lidless Wall completes this build. So, on a closing note, Blizzard, if you are watching, and I certainly hope you are, this is probably the simplest tweak you will ever have to do to make a fully viable build. Thank you very much, by the way, for the Legacy of Dreams. I think it's been an excellent addition to the game. As for the Diablo 3 fan base, let me know in the comments below what you think. And hopefully we'll see HaLoD in action someday very soon.